What's up, gang? Forrest and Matt, Red Wings diehards. Forrest, the offense is coming alive a little bit.
Safe to say that there might be a light at the end of the tunnel. And for the first time this season, this podcast might be super, super positive and trending in a positive direction.
Wow.
Tune in to find out.
Turn up your volume. Because you're about to listen to The Sick Podcast. Hockey Town Hangout.
Brings it in, scores! Oh, his first NHL goal is a beauty!
The sickest Detroit Red Wings podcast. It's gonna be sick.
So, a couple of games have gone by. Red Wings have actually won 3 of their last 4. They had that stinker in Philly, but then played the Maple Leafs at home Saturday night, won 4-2. Looked pretty decent in that game considering the quality of opponent they were playing. And then they were able to get a little revenge on Philadelphia last night. Tried to give it away a little bit there in the third period, but a beautiful Patrick Kane game winner. It was really nice to see him get one. Forrest, what do you think of the last couple here?
Last couple have been encouraging, dare I say. The offense is, in 3 out of the 4, the offense has shown up and done a good job. I mean, the 3 games they've won, they've got, 14 goals. Yep. 16 goals in 3 games. You know, if your offense is humming along, scoring that many goals, it usually doesn't matter what else is going on with your team as long as you're getting decent defense and decent goaltending. And to be honest, they have. There's, with the defense that we have, there's going to be a lot of breakdowns, and we've seen those plenty in these games. Obviously, they have been high-scoring contests, but Patrick Kane finally showing up. Very excited about that. Would love if he could go on a little heater here. This team, it comes down to depth scoring. To see them, especially in the last game against the Flyers, Joe Veleno get on the scoreboard. JT Comfort remind everybody that he can score. And like even Michael Rasmussen, like a lot of people that have been called out very publicly on this podcast for not pulling their weight and being passengers, and they showed up, and hopefully it's an omen for things to come. What are your thoughts, Matt?
I think the thing that I like the most from the last couple games is that they gave up the lead in the third period in both and found a way to stick with it and get regulation wins. Like the Toronto game, they came out and they tied the game pretty early on in the third period. And then it was pretty quickly after that, like only a minute or two, the Jeff Petrie slam dunk rebound goal right at the net front. Thought I saw a white unicorn there for a second, but that was really good to see. Thought he had 2 goals for a while, but they changed the stat. It clipped Rasmussen's sweater on the way in. It reminded me of like a Luke Robitaille goal from back in the day. He used to score a bunch like that. But yeah, I mean, Toronto's a good team. They're more than likely going to be a playoff team yet again. Everyone knows who Austin Matthews is and Mitch Marner and all those guys and what they're capable of. So it was really nice to see them stick with it in the third period and really work to shut them down as the game went on. And truthfully, maybe Ville Husso's best game that he has played all season. And I thought it was kind of peculiar considering it was Saturday and then Wednesday they played. So a couple of days in between games, obviously. I was kind of surprised he didn't go back to Husso for the game last night. I thought he played well enough to earn another start. And, early in the Philadelphia game, I mean, Lyon gives up a slow roller 5-hole on his first shot against in a while. So then you're kind of sitting there thinking, okay, well, we'll see how this goes. And like you said, the depth scoring, I mean, it's really come alive. I mean, JT Compher potted his first one, how long? Almost 20 games, damn near. Really good to see Patrick Kane. There's a nice feed from Sider, seam pass through the neutral zone to spring him on a mini breakaway there. And then obviously the biggest question moving forward is what's the status of Simon Edvinsson? I saw him I had to watch the last couple games late. I watched them afterwards, not live. And when I was watching the Flyers game late last night, I saw that hit on the near boards in the zone, and it looked like it was kind of high. and I saw him skate to the bench right afterwards. And I was like, oh man, I hope he's okay. I don't want to Google it because I'm going to ruin this game for myself. But he came back for a little bit and then left again. And like, I'm holding my breath on that one because any like amount of time that he misses is going to hurt the team. Him and Moritz Seider, 1A and 1B back there, they've been so good and they're playing against tough guys. And any significant amount of time that he misses is really going to sting because obviously behind 53 and 77, there's not a whole lot to pick from back there.
Did the hit look high to you? Did it look like an elbow? I mean, to be honest, when I glossed over it live, I didn't see it. Maybe I was looking at my phone or something. I glossed over it. I had a buddy send it to me, and in my opinion, you can very clearly see him finish with the elbow. I mean, Simon Evanson's 6'6". If you're seeing a guy follow through like that, just more mystifying that the refs miss it as obvious as it is, but don't want to get too much into
I would
that.
need to watch it. I would need to watch it again, but it looked to me like a shoulder to like the jaw area. That's what it looked like to me. But regardless, I mean, still a high hit. You don't want to have head contact like that hit any part of the game really. But obviously a guy like that, I mean, he's still a spring chicken, but he's already so valuable, logging north of 21, 22 minutes almost every game. And that's our top pair of the future. So would really like to hopefully see him bounce back. We got 3 more games till Christmas. Hopefully it's just kind of a scenario where he needs just a couple games off, maybe the Christmas break, and he can be ready to go when they get back. I think they come back on like the 27th or something. But a back-to-back against the Canadiens and then play the Blues on the 23rd, I think, right before Christmas. So if he was going to miss a few games, I mean, the Habs are obviously, I think, bottom of the conference as of right now, and the Blues are right around 500, just like we are. So hopefully it's just that, and it's not any significant amount of time.
I was really impressed with the second Flyers game. Obviously, we know the first Flyers game, Scott Laughton just went absolutely nuclear, and yeah, enough about that. But in game 2, second time in like a week, they totally could have folded. The first shot goes in off a fluke bounce. They totally could have packed it in and absolutely rolled over in that game, and they didn't. And you mentioned they had to come back and weather storms against the Maple Leafs and the Flyers, scoring early goals in the third period. That is the kind of toughness and test this team needs, and they could have folded, but they didn't. And I think that's a sign of things to come, is that they're actually doing the work, putting their nose to the grindstone, and you could see them start to grind out and forecheck a little bit better. It just looks and it feels different, and I don't know what's clicked because it doesn't look like they're doing anything different, but something does look different. And in my opinion, I think they were stretching, more stretch passes than I can ever really remember. Like the goal to Patrick Kane, Mo Seider trying to feed one in there, and he does get it to Patrick Kane, and that creates the goal. I mean, something that this team hasn't done. They've been so packed in and so defensively responsible. I think they just have to open it up and just try and have a track meet every single night and outscore guys.
Yeah, I mean, I see the train of thought for sure. It's not like their defensive personnel is anything that will intimidate opponents on a night in and night out basis. But I think the advantage of that too is, Red Wings were turning a lot of pucks over beginning of the year. So when you're a team that, your breakout's kind of closer support, and you're not stretching it out like you were alluding to before, like teams feel more comfortable forechecking hard against that because it's like, oh, these guys, they're not going to stretch out. So let's just, send F1 and F2 super hard, F3 kind of hang high, read the play type of thing. But when you stretch it out, then it forces them to second guess that. And it's like, oh, maybe I need to back off. I need to look at the winger, slashing or stretching the zone or whatever.
It's just making them think, these are the best guys, best hockey players in the world. And if you can just have that little seed of doubt, give them something different to think about, as opposed to knowing that it's going to be a quick D pass because nobody's scared of the Wings defense. It just huge difference.
Yeah, and
Forcing other teams to think.
And I will say too, like, I know we and a lot of people have been critical of the defensive personnel and how it was put together and everything, but losing Edvinson last night and, you know, only having 5D, they really, I think the coach talked about it too, but they really did gut it out, and they kind of did really bear down and play some, kind of that bend don't break. Like, I think they were up 4-2, and then it became 4-4 if memory serves, but bend don't break, and they didn't give up the lead. They were able to tie it.
And like the typical where he absolutely walks Petrie, that's basically going to happen once a night as is.
Yeah,
but outside of that real one play, see your point entirely.
Yeah, and I love Owen Tippett. He's a really good player, but that clip should be shown to anyone playing the Red Wings, honestly, in their pre-scout meetings. It's like, if you see 46 move your feet and go wide and go to the net, you might tuck one or you might draw a penalty. So that would be something I would be showing. But regardless, but yeah, so
once and go to the net.
Yeah, right. So I guess I would assume that Johansson's probably gonna just sub in, and I'm assuming it'll be Schrottenseider and Petrie and Hull, maybe. I don't know, but I think they're both right-handed, so that probably won't work. But it's gonna be held together with some Scotch tape and some chewed gum and a couple of rubber bands until 77 gets the clear to come back. I just kind of assumed that the coach's tone today when he was asked about it wasn't great, so I'm assuming he's not going to be ready to go in time for at least the first Montreal game. But we'll see. Hockey's super buttoned up about that, as we all know. He could be fine, and they're just being cautious. So we'll just have to see. But definitely encouraging that they were able to gut it out and find a way to win, and hopefully keep it going these last 3 games here before Christmas, because that would be nice. I mean, they're not super buried in the stand. I think they're 4 points out of a playoff spot right now. So the penalty kill is not getting better, though. Still 31st in the league. Power play, it's so it's so tough, because on one hand you have a top 10 power play, like we all really wanted to get back from last year, especially after the power play was so brutal to start the year. But the penalty kill is still just really, really struggling. I mean, even the last couple games, I think the penalty kills, they only had to kill 1 last night, and I think they went 1 for 2 in Toronto. So even still, these last couple games, you get 2 regulation wins, your penalty kill is still 67%. So I don't know. That continues to be something that they are having trouble figuring out.
Well, I think that's a good point. Let's stay on that. I think you mentioned 3 penalties in the last 2 games, and they won them both. I mean, it's just that simple. If this team parades to the box, they're going to get absolutely eaten alive by teams, because when they're on the penalty kill, any other team is going to out-talent them with their power play. This Wings team does not have the high-end talent, and that is usually what fuels a good power play. Obviously, ours does just fine without the high-end talent of some of these other top units. But not going to the box, buttoning up defensively, it's been a different team, and to have a couple bellwether games, 2 against Montreal, team 8th in the Atlantic, and the Blues, who are wheeling and dealing, trying to find guys that can play on a nightly basis. Let's be honest here. 3 games that, dare I say, winnable, all 3, and all 3 should be put in the win column.
Yeah, I mean, if you can acquire 6 more points before Christmas, that obviously helps you out. It's just tough when it's so bunched up like this, because you have to play well and get on a little bit of a streak, and you have to count on like 3 other teams to kind of be average or mediocre at the same time. So it's a lot to like analyze and try to figure out, but everyone in the locker room is just saying the same thing. Like, let's just control our controllables. Let's worry about what's in front of us. Let's win the day. Let's, win the practice, win the shift in the game, win the period. It's really got to be broken down into little segments, I think, especially with a group like this that's still trying to find their footing, like in a firm, consistent way. But yeah, I'm super curious to see how they respond in these back-to-back divisional games against a team that, you're right, you should win. Like, these are games that I don't want to say they're must wins. Like, to me, like, every game's like at least a must play well. Like, that's what you hope for. And obviously that doesn't happen all the time, but these divisional games where you're above them and you're trying to, gut it out for a playoff spot yourself. They got to be at least like, let's go to overtime and get a point. If they can get 3 out of 4 in Montreal, you're feeling good. And then go play St. Louis and empty the tank and then go spend some time with your family for the holidays. But it's encouraging to see, especially because before that Buffalo game, like we were losing and we couldn't score. So these depth guys have been stepping up lately, and that's really, really good to see, because that's truthfully why we were so successful last year and we're really close to a playoff spot. It's because our depth scoring most nights, a couple guys at least showed up. Maybe it wasn't bunches and we were putting up 6, 7, 8 a game, but maybe one night it was Cop and Comfort and another night it was Fabry and Sprong or whoever. But really, and just really nice to see Patrick Kane score. I mean, I think he was holding in that celebration for weeks, man. He looked like he was like tremoring out there. He was so juiced up. So hopefully he can start playing a little bit better. And obviously he can be a real asset and a real play driver for this team. So you hope to see that continue. And a heck of a keep in by Seider on that JT Comfort goal. You should show that JT Comfort goal to a lot of youth hockey players. Go to the net and keep your stick on the ice.
You mentioned the Sabres game, another one where I'm pretty sure they were down 5-3 in the third period. I'm pretty sure I flipped it off. I was like, oh, this is going to be it. But no, they obviously didn't, and they're starting to play some good hockey, which is nice. With the back-to-back against Montreal here tomorrow and Saturday, I'm assuming that you play a different goaltender each night, or are you thinking the same thing, or do you think you roll with the hot hand if it shows itself on night one?
Yeah, I mean, I personally can't remember a time where the Red Wings rolled out the same goalie back to back. I could be forgetting something, but I just don't remember it. I'm assuming it's going to be 2 different guys. I think they sent Husso down today. Didn't I see that online? I think I saw that. Okay. So if they did, then Talbot must be ready to go. So I would assume you see Lyon 1, Talbot 1. So, and they gotta keep playing well too. I know they've missed some time with injury, but like we don't have time for that. Like we need, like, obviously that's got to be part of the Red Wings identity to have success, is to have solid goaltending most nights. So hopefully we're not in a situation where someone's getting rushed back, because I thought Hoos was playing okay enough to stay part of the rotation if everyone's not 100% healthy, but maybe they are. And, Lyon's just shaking some cobwebs off, got the win. Hopefully that helps his confidence. And really nice to see too, Mo Seider took that puck in the head. That was scary. That was scary to see. And especially anytime like someone drops and the other team's like, hey, like that's always really scary. But he popped right up because he's an absolute man-child and seems to be okay. So that's good stuff.
Guy's tough for the nails.
Yeah.
Dare I say one of Husso's best performances in a Red Wings uniform, the game against Toronto. I personally enjoyed hearing the let's go Leafs chants, and then them getting shut up in the third period. That was quite enjoyable in my opinion. And obviously we know that Toronto fans, they travel quite well, with the tickets in Detroit being, a fraction of the price that they are in Toronto, which doesn't make any sense to me to watch a loser hockey team, but I digress. But yeah, so sweet seeing that and hearing everybody shut up in the third period as we as I wasn't expecting it. We really took it to them in that third period. It was nice to see.
Hey man, they let Jeff Petrie get loose. That's their own fault that they lost that game.
Do not let Jeff Petrie cook.
Oh man, I mean that the one goal he did score that counted, that like he's just right there at the top of the crease, like right to his stay. Like it's one of those goals where you just like it happens and you kind of chuckle. So that was good to see. I know we dog on 46 a lot on this show, and a lot of fans do too. But anytime you pot, you're a hero, so it's a good thing. But yeah, I'm just really holding my breath until I see what's going on with Edvinsson, because if he's out, if it's week to week or whatever the heck it could be, obviously it's all speculation, but he's becoming one of the most important players on the team, and in relatively short order. So I think Seider and him were both 6th overall picks, weren't they?
I think so. Yeah.
Yeah, that's a cool little tidbit too. So, partners, same pick overall, couple different classes, and they're just monsters back there. I mean, even like the
Well,
Colorado
two of
game.
a handful of building blocks on this team that does
Yeah,
not have many. They are
yeah,
the two defensive building blocks, along with what probably Larkin and Raymond up front. Maybe DeBrincat, you throw him in there too.
sure. Yeah, and
They're few and far between.
but yeah, and I know he's not technically a rookie this year, but like even people like Emily Kaplan have said like if he was a rookie, he'd be winning the Calder Trophy. So like two of Stevie's first 3 drafts, and you get like 2 Calder Trophy level top pair defensemen. So like that's really good. And if you're wondering about Mr. Axel Sandy and Pelika, the World Junior Tournament starts here in about a week. So I'm really interested to watch that. The Team USA has Trey Augustine and Max Plant. I'm not sure how you say his last name, but the Red Wings second round pick from last year. One of my favorite tournaments of the year to watch, honestly. So I'm really looking forward to seeing that. ASP continues to tear it up, and I'm really hoping he can be over here sooner rather than later. Maybe we can, continue to develop some of these prospects this year, and in the next year or two, you're really seeing more and more roster turnover where it's, drafted and developed guys and maybe sprinkled in with some better pro acquisitions than we've seen lately.
Well, ASP, I'm pretty sure, is captain World Junior team,
Nice.
and he's on pace to shatter the scoring record, shatter the points record over in the SHL. I don't think the guy has anything left to prove over there. I think it would be silly to not bring him over to North America. I mean, we know we love to over-ripen the prospects in Grand Rapids. If we're going to over-ripen him, let's get him there sooner rather than later and see what he's got and then move him up.
Yeah.
I wanted to bring one thing up. Kane's been so bad defensively recently, and I see you out there, Stuart, commenting online. So shout out to you. He says Kane is a liability defensively. I agree with that. I honestly have kind of been thinking we need to lower him in the lineup. Obviously, keep his power play time, but just lower him in his 5-on-5 minutes and give someone an opportunity to move up, like a Veleno or a Casper. Move somebody up in the lineup that has speed and isn't afraid to skate with the puck through the neutral zone. That is what we're missing so much. And if we can get Casper, Veleno, give them the confidence to do it, I do think that this team could be headed in an even better direction because we just don't have anybody that wants their puck on the stick 24/7, is able to carry it through the neutral zone, carry possession into the offensive zone. There's only a couple guys that can, and it's honestly the quick guys. Larkin, Veleno, Casper, and I want to see more opportunities. I'd rather see them out there at 5-on-5 in those big minutes over Kane personally.
Yeah. No, it's
That might not be popular.
it doesn't have to be popular. It's valid for sure. There's definitely logic behind it. I just think that like my devil's advocate point to that would be like I would shelter him with Raymond and Larkin, and like those two guys are pretty solid defensively, 200-foot players. And I think Patrick Kane's like vision and playmaking is still there. It's taken him a while to find a groove, but you're seeing it kind of pick back up a little bit here these last couple games, and got over his pointless streak. But I think that would be what I would try. I don't understand the logic of putting Tarasenko with 71 and 23. I think Tarasenko is, I don't know. There's just something about him that, like, not like I don't want to say he's not playing hard, but like when you see a guy like Christian Fischer go out there and forechecking like an animal and creating turnovers and winning puck back, like that's noticeable. Yeah, that's noticeable effort. Well, I'm not saying I need them to forecheck like that, but like I'm saying like that's noticeable effort. And when I watch Tarasenko play, I don't see a lot of noticeable effort. Like I see the puck gets on his stick and he might generate a chance or get a good scoring chance himself. But like outside of having the puck on his stick, like I don't notice him at all. And yeah, I mean, you could probably maybe say the same for Patrick Kane a little bit, but I think Patrick Kane too. I mean, I'll see him move his feet and get his motor going on the back check here and there. And I never noticed Tarasenko doing those little habit type of things. So I don't know if that's like a team chemistry issue or what's going on with him, but yeah, that one's a bit of a head scratcher so far because it's not like he
appears to be missing. It just looks like he's missing the passion. And I mean,
I don't know.
He won the cup last year?
Yeah,
coming off a high win in the cup. Maybe the passion's not there. I don't know. 2-year deal, we'll see.
But yeah, that would be what I would try with Patrick Kane. I mean, I think what they put him in DeBrincat with Cop last night. Is that what it was?
I think so. Yeah.
Copper Comfort.
Which I don't necessarily hate that.
No. How about
but
that?
I don't see that as a second line.
That Mo Seider goal from the Toronto game where it was set up by Kane and Cop, that silky little toe drag through the slot and the wide open net. That was such a beautiful goal. Such a beautiful goal. And I think it shows too, like Mo Seider gets asked to do so much defensively. We forget sometimes that he has that offensive, jump in his game, jump up in the rush and be that second wave of scoring threat in the ozone. So
if we could just get a second pairing to give him a couple of ozone starts every once in a while and really see him do his full potential.
Yeah. I mean, he's out there like almost every D zone draw unless they're already gas. So
I'm surprised the guy doesn't play 30 minutes a night. It feels like it.
But what I was going to say, though, too, like even going back to the Colorado game, speaking of 53 and 77, like that's a 2-1 game against a team that has a ridiculous offense. I mean, Nathan McKinnon is otherworldly. So is Cale Makar. And they're going up against those guys. I mean, their home team, last change, they're going up against those guys and really, really gave them fits and limited their high danger chances. And the Red Wings had an opportunity to at least get a point out of that game if they could find a way to bury one. I mean, it was Alexander Georgiev, for crying out loud. It wasn't Terry Sawchuk, even though that's what it looked like.
For a little while there, we had a streak of making, just about anybody rolling in off the street look like a NHL Hall of Famer. So
if you could,
it ebbs and it flows.
If you could pick one Red Wing to go play defense on the Lions, considering all their injuries, who do you think would be the best fit?
I think Mo Seider would make a mean linebacker, dude.
Can you imagine that?
I could see him meeting somebody in the hole or, taking someone's head off, running out wide. I feel like he'd be fearless because I just feel like he over time, he's starting to get more and more confident with stepping up into the play and hitting guys. But being a linebacker where he has the option to do that all the time, I think he'd be unreal at that.
And that flow would look sick in a football helmet too. So.
Agreed on that. Him and Anzalone, dude, be the best hair linebacking core in the league.
Nice. Yeah, I'm super into that. They should probably give him a call because they are struggling right now. Oh man,
Head and Shoulders, Old Spice,
something like that.
Maybe in your next commercial.
That's okay. We got a head coach telling us to eat moldy bread, and we're all fired up about it. So I really hope if anyone's going to be hiring a coach here in this town in the near future, they just really study what the Lions did and what that guy's about, because he is cream of the crop. I think we were all a little skeptical at the beginning, but what Dan Campbell's done, and he's just an elite motivator, dude. Like I saw that video from the Costa show the other day, and it's like, where do you think of this stuff? Like how, like it's just so relatable and it's gold every time. I love that man. Such a great coach, and I really wish more hockey coaches had a little more personality like that. That's why I love Torts.
He perfectly embodies this city. It's hilarious.
So good. So obviously Red Wings playing a little bit better lately. Still a number of people think there should be a coaching change. There's never been a coaching change middle of the season, I think, since the Ilitches owned the team. So you're either, it's so weird. It could just go so many different ways so fast. Hockey's so crazy because 2 weeks from now, 3 weeks from now, we could be sniffing down a playoff spot or even in the wild card 2's position. It's like, well, look at the job news he's doing. He's bringing everyone back together. But then, he's expiring deal, kind of lame duck coach. And so it's really wild. And I think that's why it's super important to have just all kinds of communication and plans. And obviously none of us know what the GM office conversations are like day in and day out down at the LCA, but seems like
trade deadlines around the corner too. You mentioned, depending on how these next month or two go, they could be full-on sellers. They could also potentially be buyers. I mean, we just don't know, right?
I wish we did, because maybe I could sleep a little bit better.
I
that's
hear you
okay.
on that.
That's
But
okay.
if we could see the future, we already would have put future bets on it. So
Oh yeah, that'd be the best part about seeing the future is cashing all the sports bets easily. Anyway, we don't want to get in trouble with the books or anything. So next 2 games, you said they were tomorrow and Saturday?
yes, tomorrow and Saturday Canadians, and then Monday St. Louis, and then little break for Christmas, and then we got the Maple Leafs on the 27th. Those are the next 4 games. It's a home and home against Canadians the next 2 days.
Nice. Quick little flight up to Montreal. That'll be nice. Yeah, so in my mind, you'd like to stay hot and at least carry at least a point streak. I don't need a win streak to the break, but at least getting a point streak that you feel really good, have a nice Christmas break, and then get back at it. Another weekend matchup at home against the Leafs. It's the perfect segue back into it. And, I think it's
if
doable.
They're riding high.
Yeah.
If they're riding high, that can be another good test for them.
So it seems like they're in a good spot right now. We don't want to give them too much credit or toot their own horn too much. So, there's a lot of work to do every day. Got to win every day, win every shift. So trending in the right direction right now. 3 more winnable games here before Christmas. We'll be really interested to see. We'll be following along with the Simon Edvinsson situation. But looks like Albert Johansson's at least going to get a little bit more playing time, at least in the immediate future.
Can't hurt. Let's take a look at the young kids. Might as well.
All right, gang. Well, we will keep watching, keep following, keep tweeting all along the way. Thanks for hanging out with us tonight.
And that's a wrap. Hope you don't miss us too much until next time. Follow the Sick Podcast Hockey Town Hangout on YouTube, Facebook, Google Play, and Apple Podcasts.